Hello, everybody. How you doing? My name is Mark Monroy. This is Mcaa 530, spring 2018. So I'm here today to talk to you about self-discipline. So what is self-discipline? In my opinion, self-discipline is doing the right thing when no one is looking. Basically, not giving up, continuing to progress on your ultimate goal. That's what my personal definition of self-discipline is. Now, what is a self-discipline according to the Collins Dictionary? It is the ability to control yourself and to make yourself work hard or behave in a particular way without needing anyone else to tell you what to do. Another thing that they had on that is correction or regulation of oneself for the sake of improvement. So basically, you want to get better and you will need self-discipline to get better. Some of the words that I'm going to go through these pretty quickly here. Some of the words that relate to self-discipline are perseverance, restraint, endurance, thinking before you act, finishing what you started, carrying out your plans, having self-control, knowing that self-discipline can cause discomfort, and knowing that the benefits can be great. How do you become self-disciplined if you're not already self-disciplined? So, some of the ways that you could do that is take responsibility for your own actions. When you have a goal, develop a plan. Become action-oriented. Don't leave it to someone else to do the work for you. You do the work for you. Take actions into your own hands. Make sure you avoid procrastination. We know as college students, we all procrastinated at some point or another, and it can lead to negative things happening. Make sure you commit to consistent repetition, doing the things over and over again until you're content with your results. Be persistent. That is the biggest key to becoming self-disciplined. If you're not persistent, if you give up, then that is the complete opposite of what I just said a few seconds ago. Some of the words, be persistent, having self-control and all that, but make sure you're persistent, okay? So, God said it best in 2 Timothy 1:7, for God has not given us a spirit of fear and timidity, but of power, love, and self-discipline. That is some powerful words there, in my opinion. Excuse me, I have some allergy problems I have to deal with. But a story that comes to mind during in the Bible about self-discipline is Adam and Eve's story. Eve had to make a decision to eat the fruit or not eat the fruit. And she didn't have the self-discipline to not eat the fruit. She decided to eat it. And life would have been a little bit different from what it is now if she would have decided or had the self-discipline to not eat the fruit. So I like to compare those two. And next I'm going to show you a video. I'm going to flip my tripod here for you. And we're going to watch a video, and it's going to explain, it's about a minute and a half, of how self-discipline can affect our everyday life.
What does self-discipline mean? Self-discipline, willpower, power, self-control. What does it really mean, and what should you know about it? In general terms, self-discipline is the ability to prioritize delayed gratification over instant results. These instant results can be a reward, like eating a chocolate bar instead of sticking to your diet, or a way to escape pain, such as cutting your workout short because you're exhausted, even though you know it would serve you to continue. A quote by an unknown author says that consistency and commitment are doing the things you said you'd do long after the mood you set them in has left. When you're a self-disciplined person, you keep going even if you no longer feel like doing something. If you're on a diet, you won't order a pizza and wash it down with a can of Coke just because it's no longer fun to avoid unhealthy foods. If you want to learn a foreign language, you don't give up just because you can't express yourself and you're frustrated. If you promise yourself you'll wake up at 6 a.m. every day of the week, you don't hit snooze just because it's nicer than forcing yourself to get out of bed. Even when the mood has left you, your self-discipline remains. The ability to resist temptations and prioritize long-term results is the power that will help you reach your goals and take your life to the next level.
Okay, so we're here, back here with me. All right, so we heard a lot of the things that self-discipline can be. Self-discipline can be a very in this day and age, it is becoming. Give me 1 second. Difficult to maintain. Sorry about that. So discipline, it can help us in everyday life, not just in sports, but in everyday life. Some of the things that I think why self-discipline is important is self-discipline will lead you to success. Success is the last step of self-discipline, in my opinion, and self-discipline is the first step to success. So you're doing it for the benefit of yourself and or a group. So make sure that when you are trying to develop some self-discipline, you're thinking about what the goal is, and is it affecting you or the group itself? Your decisions will affect either you or yourself depending on what situation you are based on. Also, it allows you to focus, reflect with your inner self and inner strength. You know the good from the bad. You also, it brings stability and structure to one's life. So our life, self-discipline will bring structure to it. How can I, now moving on to sports now, how can I relate self-discipline to sports? Now, there's this coach that she's great. She's been awesome for many years, Pat Summitt. By doing things you are too tired, when you're too tired, by pushing yourself farther than you thought you could possibly go, like running the track after a 2-hour practice, you become a better competitor. So Pat Summitt basically told her team, if you are tired from practice, you should probably go run the track to get in better shape. Okay, so a lot of athletes sometimes think that just by doing the things at practice is enough, and it really is not. In a lot of cases, we know as coaches that you have to put extra time in the off season and all that stuff, and that is self-discipline. That takes a lot of self-discipline to do. Another one is Jesse Owens. He was a great Olympian track star, and his quote goes like this: "We all have dreams, but in order to make dreams come into reality, it takes an awful lot of determination, dedication, self-discipline, and effort." Okay, so it's kind of cool to know that self-discipline was a big thing back then already, and now it's still a big thing around now. One movie that I like to mention is Remember the Titans. Coach Boone does a great job on getting his guys to have self-discipline, and he does that by just instilling it throughout camp, and then they ultimately become champions. One quote from our textbook that I like is Brown, page 55. "What we do upon some great occasions will probably depend on what we already are, and what we already are will be the result of previous years of self-discipline." So this is awesome because it tells you and shows you that if you have self-discipline prior to the day that you're talking about, if you had self-discipline, you're more than likely going to be successful. Okay, so just to conclude, I'm going to talk about real quick on what I've talked about earlier and give you some terms that I want you to go home with today. So self-discipline is something that is needed to be successful, doing the right thing when no one's looking. That, like I said, that's my personal definition. I think it's a pretty good one. Not giving up and continuing to progress on your ultimate goal is always something to remember, and that is the ways of becoming self-disciplined. And those ways are taking responsibility, developing a plan, becoming action-oriented, avoiding procrastinations, committing inconsistent repetitions, and most importantly, be persistent. All right, that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great day, and God bless you.